I used to chase the ROI all the time, return on investment. And over the course of time, that has evolved into what I call return on life. Welcome, everyone, to the Return on Life podcast. My name is Randy Dyck, and I have an incredible guest with me today. You're going to love this guy. He is a fan favorite, and you're wondering who could be a fan favorite. Well, I have none other than Eddie Lack with me today on the Return on Life podcast, and I'm so excited. Eddie and I connected a number of years ago, and I've just grown to just love this guy. And I know why he's a fan favorite, because he's so awesome. He's so authentic. For those that don't know who Eddie is, Eddie played in the NHL 8 seasons, 4 years with the Vancouver Canucks, which is my team. Go Canucks, go. And I'm just so happy to have Eddie on the show today. We're going to talk about hockey. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about the underdog and, of course, mindset and all things in between. So welcome here, Eddie.
Thank you so much for having me, my friend. Finally getting to do this.
Yes, we've talked about this for a number of years already, that we're going to do this podcast, and here it is. So I'm really excited about it.
I love it. I love it. How is the weather up there right now?
It's lousy. It's lousy. It is raining and cool and windy, and it's typical Vancouver weather in fall. It's sweater weather.
Love it. I love it. We are finally getting cooler here, but cooler means like 35 Celsius, right? So it's
Yeah.
a different level.
Well, the last time I connected with you was back in July, I think it was. Yeah, and it was gosh, it was like 38, 40 degrees. Whew, it was hot, but
Yep. We're getting better.
awesome. Well, let's dive into a little bit about real estate, and we'll end up with some return on life questions. But tell me a little bit about your journey into real estate.
Yeah. So when I retired, I kind of had in the back of my head always that I was going to do something within real estate, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be or where I was going to live and and everything, right? So my wife is American, and the year before I retired, we decided to buy a place in Scottsdale here in Arizona, because we love the weather and I love to golf and everything. And we just figured that this would be a place where we could decide our next steps, right? So we bought our house here, and after spending some time and everything here, we just saw ourselves staying here long term, right? So my family is in real estate in Sweden, but that was kind of off the table when we bought this place, and yeah, I got my license when I was still on crutches after my second hip surgery, and just started to setting up the goals and everything for myself, and yeah, that was about 5, 6 years ago now, and wow, what a journey it's been.
Hmm. I didn't know that your family is in real estate in Sweden, so the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I guess.
No, no, exactly, and I was still investing in real estate when I was playing, but it was back home in
Hmm.
Sweden, and I had a few rentals there, and we built a couple houses in a skiing resort there. So I kind of like started to dabble with it a little bit, but I wanted to do my own thing and not move back to cold Sweden, because we just got back from Sweden two days ago here, and I was so happy when I landed and the sun was up and it's warm, and I don't have to put a sweater on anymore. So yeah, just uh, it really reinforced that we made the right decision
Mm,
to settle down here.
yes. Oh, absolutely. Hey, well, speaking about real estate and investing, what is so you're investing in, of course, Scottsdale, Phoenix area, and
Yeah,
in Sweden, you also have investments there. Which is the better market to be an investor in?
I would say the best we have right now is developments here. The Airbnbs, they are very dependent on a good interest rate, right? And especially as a Canadian, it is really tough to get down here now, right? So uh, as far as just the investment and just making money, the developments that I'm doing with Canadian clients seem to be uh, returning the biggest ROI right now.
Hmm. Well, yeah, when I was down in July there, you were mentioning, you're doing some builds and you're helping people with finding the dirt, then designing the build, and then doing the build and
Yep.
giving them a great investment property that has great returns. And they also have a great vacation place too.
Yeah.
Quite a way to make it all come together. And I imagine not a lot of people have done what I call the full meal deal or the full process like you. So any of your listeners out there, if you're looking for, like a turnkey, brand new, uh, exceptional investment, Eddie's the guy to talk to about that. Um, what's the process time of doing something like that? Finding the dirt, design, build to completion. How many months or years does that take to do?
So it all depends. When we do the Airbnbs, they're around 2,500 square feet around there.
Mm.
That is more of a remodel on paper, not not a new build. Even though the electrical, the plumbing, every single wall, I mean, everything is still brand new. So with those projects, because they are a little bit smaller compared to the other ones that we're doing, those ones are about uh, 6 to 8 months from start to finish.
Mhm.
When you're looking at the new builds that we're doing on the acre lots, that is around 18 months. So 6 months for the permits and 12 months for the build. And those ones are about 7,000 square feet big. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, a
Awesome.
big.
And you mentioned some of the returns that potentially could bring with me. Remind our listeners what kind of returns those are.
Yeah, so the bigger ones, we have about 100% ROI on your money in 18 months.
Wow.
W the with the smaller ones, it all depends how we tailor it to you. Are you gonna rent it out after, or are you gonna just flip it? It kinda depends on what you wanna do. The smaller ones, uh, take a short amount of time to right? But those bring in on a 6 to 8 month project, they bring in about 40 to 50% ROI uh, in that time frame.
Wow, that's exceptional returns. And many of my listeners are all over the world, but many of my listeners are also in Vancouver. And you're coming up for the alumni tournament
Yeah.
because you're the fan favorite. Of course, we need to have you at the tournament. Now, let me ask you a question. Well, let's stay with real estate first. You're going to be up between the first and the fourth, and I think on the first you're planning on having a bit of a meet and greet for anybody
Yeah,
that's interested in real estate in the Phoenix, Arizona market. Is that correct?
correct, correct.
Okay.
So I just got back from Sweden, and my trip just got booked by the Canucks and everything now, so I'm just starting to plan everything now. But I'm gonna come in the morning on the 1st, and I plan on having a meet and greet somewhere central in Vancouver on the 1st, which is a Friday. For anyone that's interested about learning about our investments and everything here, uh, I'm happy to talk to you and see if there's anything that I can do to help.
Right on. And so I'm going to be putting a link in this for all the listeners. I'm going to be
Yeah.
putting a link in this to connect with Eddie later on, and as well as Eddie's everywhere on social media. Come on. So just look up Eddie on social and message him that you'd like to be part of the meet and greet as far as understanding and learning about real estate. Very important. This is not a meet and greet to see Eddie. It's about doing some business. So, you know,
If you're interested in coming to meet and greet me, I would say please come to the hockey tournament. The tournament plays on the 2nd and the 3rd. It's for an amazing cause. It's for the
mm,
Canucks Autism Net Network, and there's going to be a lot more fan favorites than me there. I think Ryan Kessler is coming this year too, so it's a pretty fun lineup. So yeah,
that'll be awesome. Awesome. So again, first to the fourth. First is going to be, a meet and greet about real estate in Arizona, and then of course the tournament. So if you really want to be part of something special, and you're a Canuck fan and an Eddie fan, you got to be there. And so that's great. Well, let's switch gears a little bit from real estate.
yeah,
Let's talk about the concept of the underdog. And as I shared with you, I'm writing a book on the underdog DNA and what really makes us underdogs. And you shared with me that you have often felt like an underdog, and it is energized your trajectory in your career many, many times. Um, Share how the underdog maybe helped you in your career. That underdog spirit helped you in your career of hockey and even real
yeah.
estate. Come on, even real estate too.
Yeah, no, and that's what I told you when we met last for breakfast too, and I felt that throughout my career of playing hockey, even when I was at the younger stages of my life and everything, I was never the best guy on my team, right?
Mm.
And I always felt, yeah, I was good, but I always had people that were better and talked about more. And
Now, is
uh,
this at every level? You're saying at every level? Because you played in the NHL, the best league in
yeah,
the world. Yet,
yeah,
um, you know, I could see it at the NHL level where, of course, there's just so many people that have, well, not so many, there are very few people that have made to the NHL. But you're saying at every level, you were always like not always the best player on the team.
no, I mean, I felt that I was always like top 5 on the team, but I never felt that I was the guy, you know, and
Mm.
and and uh, that went on for my entire career, I think. That just motivated me to keep going too, and to not be happy or satisfied. Because why should I be happy or sat satisfied? I'm not even the best guy on my team, you know?
Yeah. And you played with some incredible players, including
Yeah,
Luongo, like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was definitely not top 5 in Vancouver. But in the
well,
younger days, I was for sure. Yeah.
well, that was just an incredible team that you're on in Vancouver. And of course, there was the Olympics that happened around that time, and you
Yep.
saw some of that happening, and the spirit of all that. Um, was there a time in your career or in real estate? Maybe you want to take it to real estate that you just felt that the odds were just so stacked against you, and this is where you really dug deep with the underdog DNA or the spirit of the underdog to fight through it.
Yeah, I mean, real estate, I feel like it was in the beginning. I mean, like it's so hard to get started in real estate, and everyone just thinks, well, like you're gonna get your license, and then all these clients are gonna show up magically, and you know what to do, you know. But there's so much work that goes into the networking and the advertisement and just to gain that experience in the beginning too, to to feel confident enough that you're actually helping someone. I mean, it is tough in the beginning, and uh that was probably the hardest part with real estate, I think. And like I I just really had to trust the process uh, and trust that I was doing the right thing, and uh, uh, that I wanted to get better, right? Uh,
Mhm.
in hockey, uh, probably the hardest part was after my first hip surgery, because I wasn't really sure if I was gonna come back and play or not, and I really had to dig deep there, and find mo motivation. Because when you're hurt and you're in pain every day, I mean, it takes a toll on you, right? And, uh you kinda need that burning desire from within, I feel like, to
Mhm.
get through those tou tougher times.
Yes. You know, I think this is a really good point. You know, a question I was going to ask was, you know, like with hockey, you grew into hockey, so to speak, from a child,
Yeah.
and then with real estate, it was like this brand new venture. But already, you know, there was just so many people that were doing well at real estate, and you came into this not really knowing much about it. You had
Yeah.
to really, really dig deep. No different than after an injury, where you have to really kind of like find it all over again. And one of the things I speak about in the book is writing about reframing, and you have to reframe what you believe in yourself and
Yeah.
reframe the position that you're in. And so I'm guessing that you took a lot of what you learned in hockey and even through your hip surgery and brought it into real estate and said, "Listen, I've done it here,
Yes.
done it before. Why can't I do it here? I'm going to bring those that mindset and those skills forward." Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and that's what I told myself too. I'm like, I know that if I do my best and I work hard on it, it's gonna work out eventually.
Mm,
Because, like, the mentality that I have and everything, I know that there's not many, if any, that outworks me, right? And if I just bring that consistency over and over again, good things are gonna happen eventually.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, there's no substitute for, consistency, and there's no substitute for, you know, hard work. Talent is one thing, but it's those pieces that you put into it that really make the difference. And I mean, you shared that. You were, you know, top 5, but you were never maybe never the top player on a team, yet it was the hard work that gave you the
Oh,
time.
100%. I mean, like, the older I get too, the thing that I come back to over and over again is just the consistency. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do in life, or if it's like I'm trying to get fit, or stuff at work, or whatever you can think about that you want to improve in your life. It's all about doing it consistently every single day. And what I found too is that the more consistent you do something, the easier it gets too. And it's I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting old and wise now, but like there's there's
Well, you
so
are a
much
little
that I've
older. You are a
learned.
little wiser.
Yeah, I know. There's so much that I've learned since I retired that I wish that I knew when I was playing, and yeah,
That's my next question. If you could go
yeah.
back to your younger self and take back what you've learned, what would that be? And I'm sure you've even learned a lot from just having a family and having children and learning from them. What would you take back? What would you take back so you could take a better run at whether it be hockey or life or whatever?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, like from a mental standpoint,
Mm,
I just think that I worried way too much about what people thought about me, right? And I'm a people pleaser to my core, and uh, when you play in front of 20,000 people and another million watching, it's impossible to please everyone, right? And some people are like always gonna have something against you no matter what you do, right? And uh, that was the hardest part when I like had my social media and Twitter and everything. It was just like hard for me because I wanted everyone to love me and I wanted everyone to like me, right? And if I got to do it all again, I would just worry about what me and my family and my friends cared about and nothing else
mm,
because like I was so focused on people that didn't matter and it just like drained me on so much energy, I think. And uh, now looking back at it, that's definitely something that I would do di differently.
Oh, that's great advice. Really, really great advice. By the way, uh, who did you play with that handled that the best that you think of? That was one of your teammates. Who just said to whoever, like, beep off, like I don't need this. Was there anybody that you think of that comes to your
I
mind?
mean, honestly, and this is kinda like a weird timing too, because Johnny just passed too, and I don't wanna get too emotional, but Johnny Gaudreau was just so good with that stuff,
Huh.
and, like, he only cared about his inner circle, what they thought about him and what he thought about himself, right? And yeah, it's just
Hmm.
such a sad story, this
Yeah.
entire thing, and, like, I mean, it's been really hard for me to process too, and I don't wanna get too deep into it either, but, like, he he like, for me, here's, like, a guy that has worked so hard his entire life, and now he achieved most of his life's goals and like dreams and like everything is just ripped away from him before he gets a chance to see his kids and everything grow up. I mean, it's yeah, it's
Very, very sad. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Uh, well, and that's another great lesson in life that we need to live every day like it could be our
yes.
last day. And
And Johnny did,
Johnny
yeah,
did, yes.
yeah, yeah, he did.
Hey, well, let's switch gears a little bit. That was really fun walking through the underdog story and so forth. And yes, we do want to acknowledge Johnny and his family as well. And we just, our prayers and thoughts go to them and their family through this time. Well, let's move on to some mindset things. And of course, mindset played a big part in your game. It plays a big part in real estate. And when you think of real estate, is there a philosophy that you work with that not only serves you, but serves your clients and those relationships?
I think, and I talked about it earlier today, and I think that's why it's on the top of my mind, but I never burn any bridges, you know, and sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong, but I always like want to make sure that we're very civil about it, and talk it out, and uh, never leave a relationship worse than when you found it, right?
Mm.
That's something that I feel I had with me a lot through hockey, and I think that's like part of why I was so popular with the fans and everything, like, too, is because like I was always there, like, to uh, sign autographs or take pictures and everything. I mean, like, I always stop because I always put myself in that person's shoes, right? And if it was me standing there, right, I obviously wanted me to stop, you know? So, yeah.
That's a great way to see it. Sales, like I guess even hockey, there's a lot of times that there's rejection, and
Yes.
there's a lot of times where in hockey, somebody might write something negative about
Yeah.
you, or you got a negative experience, or somebody rejects you when you've served them in real estate as well. How do you turn that into a positive?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've only lost 2 listings, in my
That
career.
is it? 2 listings? Oh my goodness. Rock star, rock star.
And I think both the seller was just very unrealistic with the listing price, but, um, both those situations, I felt like they were not happy that it wasn't sold and everything, and I'm just like, I only wanna work with people that wanna work with me, right? So if you wanna go your separate way, it's fine with me. There's no hard feelings or anything. Like, I want I want what's best for you, and that's how I handle uh rejection now too. Like, I only wanna work with people that, like, really want to work with me. And I know that there's other agents and everything here that, like, oh well, our contract is 3 4 months more, like, you need to hold your end of the bargain and everything. And I'm just like, if you want to leave, go another way today, like, you're like fine, right? And uh, that almost makes people want to work more with me, I think, too. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I worked through a lot of coaching with what I call the chosen versus the chump, and
Yeah.
there's times when you're in an environment or working with people and you just know that this isn't a good fit, and I can press forward and push forward and try and make this work, but why would I do that when I can work with people that, first of all, really choose me, they really want
Yes.
me,
Yes.
and so we need to make these decisions and then release the people that are not in our tribe, so to speak, so they can go work with people that they fit well with. So just it's great advice, Eddie. Really appreciate that. What do you do on some difficult deals? Because not every deal is easy. Is there some strategies that you use, or you just kill them with kindness, or what do you have for strategies on challenging, difficult deals?
I try to kill them with kindness. Sometimes alcohol helps a lot with my sanity. But no, uh, they're not always gonna be easy. But I it's kind of the same here. Like, I try to put myself in that other person's shoe, and see why things are going this way, and and see if I can approach it through a different angle than what I'm doing now. And uh, I'm 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 not really like bring the hammer down kind of person, but sometimes the deal requires me to be the bad guy. And if the deal requires me to be the bad guy, then I am gonna be uh, uh, the bad guy. But just in terms of dealing with them, like I talk to my wife about this stuff like a lot too, and um vent through her. She's in charge of our Airbnbs, so she vents to me a lot with Airbnb stuff, and I vent back with my real estate stuff. So yeah.
We all need a sounding board. We all need that
Yes.
person to like
Yeah.
just dump and unload. So yeah, that's fantastic. Well,
And beef and cheese board and wine on a Friday, Friday night. There's a lot of venting going on when the kids are asleep.
uh, hey, well, I've heard, and maybe you can confirm this with me, but I heard that goalies are very superstitious, and you've got your rituals and just the way you do it. Um, First off, do you or did you playing? And then have you brought that into real estate? And do you have your rituals, your habits that you do like you did in the game of hockey?
So I only have like one real superstition that we do now. So me and my photographer for my listings, he photoshops a photo in of me playing hockey all on the TVs.
Ah, I
But
love that.
but it has been good luck so far. So we're gonna keep it going. But no, not not really that much superstitious now. More about just like uh, rituals and habits, I would say, but not really anything that I like have
Mhm.
to know.
Well, and I'm assuming in the game of hockey, I played hockey not at your level, but I played some hockey, and there's a very strong habits and rituals that you do, and so I'm sure that you've got those in the game of real estate as well. You're still there. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to remind the listeners, hit the subscribe button because this is awesome stuff, guys. Like it's not every day you get to have a world-class goaltender and realtor sharing with you. So hit the subscribe button because there's good stuff here. So I'm sure there's a lot of habits and things that you do on a regular basis just to keep your business organized in line.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a ton of stuff, and like when I retired with hockey too, I felt like, oh yeah, I've been working out like a maniac for the last thir 30 years, right? To like,
Hmm.
do I deserve to take like a little break and everything, right? But I just learned that like if I don't get my workout in the morning and my routine and everything, then like my mind is not really on for like my entire workday and everything, right? So like it's just like little routines and stuff that I learned about myself along the way, and I feel like I'm really close to completely dialing it in now, but we'll see. I'm getting
No, that's great. And that's just another great tip. It is about you personally. It's not what somebody else does. You need to know who you are and what works for you, and then dial it in, as Eddie shared with us. Okay, we're going to switch gears and we're going to go on to why this podcast is called Return on Life. It's not always about the ROI or return on investment, but it's about the return on life. And Eddie, from your experiences, how has real estate helped you improve your quality of life? How has life changed since hockey that has been improved?
I think the biggest change, obviously, that I'm home every day and I get to see my kids uh, grow up.
Hmm.
That was one thing we talked about when we were still playing. That there's so much travel and everything, and when when we do decide to have kids, I want to be around more, right? And uh, uh, real estate has allowed me to do that and be here every day, right? So that's the biggest thing. The second biggest, I would say, it's just the amazing people that I meet through this line of work,
Like that guy named Randy.
who? So
Shameless
no,
plug.
the it's when you play hockey, you're kind of so closed off in your bubble and everything, and then when you're in real estate, it kind of allows me to be the complete opposite because uh, the more people that I meet and the more people I interact with, eventually it's going to lead to more sales, right? And just the amazing people and friends and everything that I met through real estate. It's been a fun journey. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. And then, with real estate, of course, you're always trying to network and build that network, which
yeah.
can take you away from your family as well. How do you balance work and then home life? And then you also have some fun too. Like I've got this old golf club here, and I know you're
I
quite a golfer. Um,
love it.
so how do you keep all of that, you know, balanced, or is there just times it's just chaos, and then there's other times you pull back and you re
Yeah. So sometimes it's chaos. A lot of the times I try to multitask with it,
Mhm.
right? So uh, I don't golf very often just for like just with friends now, right? If I golf, it's because I have a client that's here from Vancouver, and he wants to golf a day. So I try to
Mhm.
multitask a lot and uh, do a lot of those things together. I have the kids every morning because I'm a morning person and my wife is not.
Okay.
So every single morning I wake up with them around 5, and uh, I have 2.5 hours before I leave for the day. So that's kind of our time where we just like we make pancakes in the morning and we do my stretches and everything, and we just like hang out, you know. So uh, I try to give each part of my life the time that it deserves, and my my biggest thing that I'm trying now is to turn my phone off for a few hours when I come home at night too, which is extremely hard for me. But I'm putting systems in place so if there is something that is urgent, it will go straight to my team instead of me. But I am a uh, control freak too, and I don't want to miss out on anything, right? So uh, that is really hard for me, but it's actually working out.
Yes. Yes. Well, but one thing that you said here is really important, that you put time in areas that really are valuable to you, whether it's
Yeah,
spending time with your kids, your wife,
yeah,
um, as a family unit, but then also work. So,
yeah,
you need to really organize that. And it sounds like you've done a fantastic job of that. Tell
yeah.
us a little bit about your team. How does your team give you more return on life?
So my team takes uh, gives me time back.
Mhm.
So now that I was in Sweden for a month, I mean, we still closed on I think 3 properties. We got another 4 under contract when I was gone, and it's just me and Darian. Uh, um, which is my buyers and sellers agent that I have, and my transaction co co coordinator, Monica, and yeah, I mean, there was stuff for me to, like, do when I was in Sweden, but they took care of most, and they just gives me that time that I can go back and enjoy time with my family like I did.
Hmm. You know, a lot of people would be envious of Eddie Lack. They'd be envious of you. You have this amazing career in the NHL, and of course, it looks so glorious from the outside.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people would be jealous or envious of Eddie Lack in the game of real estate as well, because it looks so glamorous and glorious from the outside. What can you tell our listeners that have not played in the NHL and are not real estate agents, so they don't understand that? What can you share with them about life and how to get the most out of it that they could apply to their walk of life, whatever that is, if they're in construction or they're, um, in another business or industry?
I think that it doesn't really matter what line of business you're in. Obviously, it is more with hockey. You are kind of in like the eye of everyone, and you do get a good paycheck for it too. But not 90% uh, is the work that goes on behind the scenes, and
Mm.
the 10% is what everyone sees, right? I mean, you have in terms of hockey, you have a game that's 2.5 hours long, and that's your 10% of showing yourself and showing the glamour stuff, right? But then the other 90% that goes into all the practices and eating well and all the stretching at home and taking care of yourself and all the hours that you put in just to make sure that your body is fit to play the game, right? You don't really see that, but that goes for every work and even in real estate too. It's like everyone sees the new listing just closed, so I'm showing this $5 million house. Like that's the glamorous stuff here, but all the stuff that goes into it behind the scenes to make this happen. I mean, uh, uh, that's the stuff that no one sees. But yeah, but
Oh, true.
I enjoy the 90%, Randy, and I always have. And I think that that's part of what got me to where I got to is because I enjoy the process and I enjoy to grind and I enjoy to take late nights and everything to get like this one the deal done and everything. I mean, we when I left from Sweden, we had to wake up at 4 in the morning to drive to the airport, and I was working this one deal that just had to close that day, and we had so much stuff that went wrong with like insurance and everything, and I just had to get it done. So I slept maybe like 30 minutes before the flight home, and then, but but it had to get done. But I love those things, and like I love to get things done. So yeah,
Wow. Pro tip there, guys, it's the 10% that you see that you all want, and you're
yeah,
not willing to put in the 90% to get there. But this is what happens when you love and enjoy the grind and the grit that it takes on that 90%. Wow, the world opens up to you just like it's opened up to Eddie. So
yeah.
remember, you got to put the 90% in that nobody sees.
Yes.
you're behind closed doors and nobody knows that work and the sweat that you're putting into that. So just an amazing pro tip there. We're just going to go
My
off to
wife, she always says, what you do what you do in private, you wear in public. And I feel like
exactly,
say the same thing. So yeah.
exactly. Awesome stuff. So, hey, you listeners out there, hit the subscribe button. There's more of this to come. So just subscribe and get on the bandwagon of this Return on Life podcast. Well, let's finish off with a little bit of a speed round. We'll close it out. So you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Love it. Love it. Do you have a favorite band?
I love the Vici when he was alive.
Mm,
I just found Morgan Wallen. So he's like top of my Spotify list now.
I'm going to look up Morgan Wallen. I've not
Yeah.
been in touch with that. Text, talk, or email. Which would you prefer? Text, talk, or email, or in person?
In person
Mm,
type.
awesome.
But the
Um,
worst thing, the biggest pet peeve I have is the voice text. I absolutely despise the voice text.
okay.
Anyone text me, don't voice text.
Okay. No voice text, everybody. No
voice
voice text.
texting me. I hate
How
it.
about video text? How about video text?
The video text is fine, but like I said before, I always try to multitask and everything. So like if I see your like text, I just want to read it because I'm doing something else.
Mm,
And if I'm in a meeting and your voice text is coming through, I'm not going to be able to open it until like hours later. So yeah.
right. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
We're texting so we can do it while we're working with somebody else. We're multitasking. But if I'm sitting in front of somebody and I got to play the voice text, it's not going to go, or it's just not going to do it.
You're gonna have to wait.
Yes, you're going to have to wait. Okay. Fine dining, Uber Eats, takeout, or home cooked meal. I think I know which one it is, but
I'm a fine dining guy. Like it doesn't happen as often now with the kids and everything, but I have a friend, his name is Christian here in town, and he owns Cafe Monarch, which is one of the best, well, the best fine dining restaurant in Arizona. And we work out together every day and everything. So whenever I have like one night off, we always go there, and I love it.
what's Christian's Cafe's name again? Let's do a search for Christian.
Cafe Monarch.
Cafe Monarch. Okay.
Yeah.
Folks, Cafe Monarch is the place to go. That's Eddie's place to go. And it's the
4 or 8 course meal. It's amazing. Yeah.
8-course meal. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing that next time I come down.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I love it.
Okay. Last question. Bit of a trick question. If you were a scratch and sniff sticker, Eddie, if you're a scratch and sniff sticker and I rubbed your shoulder, what would I smell? What would be the aroma?
What?
What would be the smell? So if I scratch you, okay, here's an example. So I love going to the beach. My wife and I, Jolene, love going to the beach. So the smell of the ocean, the sand, and a pina colada, let's say. That's what you'd smell if you rubbed me.
You would smell
tender equipment.
The sand of the golf course. And my perfume from a showing or earlier in the day.
Awesome stuff. Hey, well, folks, again, subscribe button is below. If you've enjoyed this, you got to come and listen to a few more of the podcast. Eddie, thank you so much for being an incredible guest. It's been so fun. And gosh, for all those people in Vancouver, you're thinking about real estate in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, or anywhere in Arizona, Eddie is your guy. And of course, he's going to be back up here in Vancouver for the Canuck Alumni Tournament. And on the 1st, he's going to have a greet and meet regarding real estate. We're going to have some links in this podcast, as well as you can always search Eddie. He's everywhere. He's the guy. So thanks for being here, Eddie.
Thank you, Randy.